Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Hope everybody's doing well out there in the East Coast and along this terrible snowstorms trail. Hope you guys stay nice and warm and it's not affecting you too badly. Hopefully, it's a nice, relaxing Saturday evening. So, I wanted to address something because this was an amazing, a wonderful question from Falcongal. And I agree with everything she had to say. His label has fully supported him, has given him full creative control, have brought in renowned producers, composers to work with him. But why is he not bigger than what he is? My personal opinion, nothing that I should say there hasn't been anything like this that had ever happened during all the years I had worked in the music industry, and that is a pandemic occurring. A pandemic so severe that it shut down many businesses that were considered non-essential. The entertainment industry in itself would be considered non-essential. They're not providing food, they're not providing gas, they're not providing human basic needs. But in saying that, I remember one comment that Katy Perry had that really resonated with me that she had told him because she had said it from the get go. She saw how humble he was and had stayed and continued to stay. And she had told him after one of his performances, you know, that they love to see people, rising up to the challenges and becoming colleagues more than anything else. And just to continue on, you know, watering that plant, as she said, but don't forget to continue to take in, advice from others. Now, obviously, I'm not in the recording sessions with him, and I'm not anyone who's, giving him advice. But I really think as his music progresses, you definitely hear a change in it, from, of course, American Idol was going to be completely different from what he really wants and what he really does. Uh, it wasn't going to resonate with, young teenage kids. Um, you know, he's ahead of his time, and we've all said that. I mean, his artistry is just, it's beautiful. He's way ahead of his time. And I think the problem of why he's not so big is one that kind of stymied him blowing up was one, the pandemic. Two, you had mentioned Falcon Gal about zero promotions. You're absolutely right. I have hardly seen, me personally, have hardly seen any promotions of him. The only time I ever see him is if I type his name in there, in the search bar personally, or if it's along my, mixed music that I listen to. Other than that, I can't recall a time where I just seen a flat out promotion of him. You get it a lot with your, big stars, Taylor Swift, freaking Eminem. I mean, doing commercials, supporting different clothing brands, endorsements, really is how to probably put it all under one roof. Endorsements. And I don't know if he's been signed to any endorsements. I mean, I would love to see him like be endorsed by some guitar company. Um, that would definitely, help his image and help kind of get him more out there to the masses. Because from what I hear, every show that he goes to, he's selling out. It's like, I don't want to say we're like a closed box of people that know about him because he is expanding. But like I said, I think the timing of it was just so off. Uh, I hope because it. How can I word this? It's not. It's not too late. He's still, in a lot of people's eyes, fairly new. I mean, 2019. You have 3 years in. He's dropped a few albums, yes. The promotions from the record label have been minimal to none. He's traveled, done shows across the U.S. I really think that the label one thing that saves a lot of careers, and I've seen this time and time again, is uh, have him collaborate with somebody. Um, Somebody as big or bigger, just name wise, not more talented. I'm just talking about it as far as people who know, oh yeah, I could get behind that. For instance, one collab that you would never see coming, and it did happen, was Eminem and Ed Sheeran. That was, such an odd collaboration, but at the same time, when you're a fan of music, you're a fan of music, and you recognize the talent. And I'm sure people recognize the talent with him. I know the people in the industry recognize the talent with him. When he did his collaboration with Ben Harper, I mean, that was a beautiful collaboration. I mean, it went like a hand in a glove. But what I really would think would be two things is one, have him collab with a big name, somebody who's already signed to his label, or pay to have someone come in and be featured on one of his songs. Alejandro Aranda featuring whoever, and then I think with his record label, with them giving him the full control that he has, is for them to really sit down and think a strategy of okay, how are we going to put you out there to the masses? Now, we already know he's humble. We already know that he's himself when he's on stage, but very soft spoken, very shy. Uh, if the music industry has changed him at all, behind the cameras, I don't know. But perhaps he's just stuck in a box to where he might be letting other people make these decisions without really inputting his decisions besides his music. So perhaps if he was being a little bit more involved in the promotion side of things, especially again, for as much control as they give him over his music, if they give him more control over how am I going to get my name out there, I think he could come up with something really, really eye popping, really catchy. I mean, his talents for music, to singing and all that, they, I would bet money they don't just stop there. I mean, he's obviously an intelligent gentleman. Uh, Playing the piano is tremendously difficult. I mean, one hand here, and control. I mean, for you who play piano, I mean, right on, man. That's awesome. Uh, but I guarantee you, he's the type that's a thinker, and if they gave him the control to promote himself, I'm sure he could come up with something just absolutely amazing. Um, but all in all, Falcongal, I really think the biggest thing that has hurt him has been the outbreak, COVID 19. It was just a wrong place, wrong time for him. Um, I don't think it's gonna, like I said, I don't think it's gonna stymie his career. I don't think, he's just gonna fade into oblivion. I still think that he's gonna blow up. He's made, in my opinion, a lot of the songs that I've listened to are hits. The one thing I would love to see his record label do, though, is push his songs out on the radio. Now, in saying that, I don't listen to a lot of radio. Usually, uh, I have my Bluetooth on. I'm listening to, my mixes that I like. Um, but if anybody knows if his songs have came out on the radio, please let me know. That'd be awesome to know. Um, but no, I would love to definitely see them push him out more on the radio, more on Spotify or any other type of platform, that's showcasing artists, as good as he is, and just watching some of this behind the scenes stuff that you guys have suggested. I mean, you could just tell he draws people in. People just absolutely love this guy, and he continues to build a fan base. And a good example of this is a band called Coheed and Cambria. Um, Dude has one of the most unique voices, and I think I'll put them up tonight just so you guys could see. But they've been around for 12 years, but yet a lot of people don't know about them. And I think it was because, and it's always, in my opinion, I always thought like it's because nobody ever really promoted them. Nobody ever really put them in a concert, let's say opening for when Kid Rock was at his height, or opening for Metallica or whomever, you know. If they put him, you know, let's just say opening for someone super big, people are going to be like, damn, who was that artist that he opened up? Who was the artist that opened up? And then little by little, that's how you end up becoming you know, the headline of the tour. All bands have done it. You all have to start from the bottom, going up. And again, I don't know personally if he has opened up for other bigger bands, but that's another strategy his promotions team should take, is having him open up for big bands, big gigs. I'm talking about stadium filled, events. But yeah, all in all, it's this pandemic has really. I think if it didn't happen, I think he would be in a totally different place in his profession right now. I honestly believe that. So if you guys have any opinions on that, please let me know. But thank you, Falcongal, for the great question. I hope that kind of answered, what you were looking for. But that's what I would have done personally. Um, if I would have found somebody like an Alejandro when I was working back in the day, I mean, my God, I would have done anything to have gotten him out there. And in fact, I told a story when I first started my channel. Um, I had taken the video down by now, but I had mentioned um, we had two artists that were just, I mean, they were amazing. We went down to Atlanta, and they were a part of a music video of another artist that they were heavily promoting. And we were about to drop their first album, and all of a sudden 9/11 hits. And then you start hearing all of the big names at the time, and I can remember distinctively, like Justin Timberlake and uh, all the big names during 2001. They're all doing songs to commemorate this awful tragedy, raising money and awareness. Well, not awareness, excuse me, raising money for the victims' families, victims' funds, all that. Um, and all of a sudden, without much say on my part, because I hadn't reached the point in my career at that point, because it was still fairly new, all of a sudden they released. I can't say it any other way. They released the most awful song these two guys could have ever performed, and these guys were great. Um, and I felt right then and there, this is going to be disastrous. You're following what everybody else is doing, but these people are already established. Why do they need to hear another voice if they have absolutely no clue who they are, and they could turn to their favorite, you know, uh, rock star, pop star, whomever, because everyone big during that time was releasing something in support of 9/11. And there used to be what's called a DJ pool. I don't know if it still goes on today. Again, I'm no longer working the industry, but a good way that we got a sense of where our artists were at, where we would send vinyls to different DJs across the U.S., and there would be a DJ pool that we would have a list of. And on this list, once we would send the vinyl out, this list had questions like, what kind of crowd reaction were you getting? Did the people, seem to be into it? Were they dancing? Did you see people walk off? Or, the feeling, the vibe, did it die down? Did it build up? I mean, what did you see? And for the most part, we were hitting in the top 100 of songs that they were spinning, and this is in, you know, this not contest, but this was in contrast with people like Usher at the time, Little John, Juvenile, um, talents like that that were big names at the time. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I wasn't much of a hip hop guy, but that's what I was assigned to do was hip hop. I've always been more of an alternative rock style stuff like Alejandro does. Um, when he mentioned Trent Reznor being one of his favorite Nine Inch Nails, I mean, you know, that's kind of what I grew up with. Uh, but I think that my label, not my label, but the label I worked for back then, really killed the careers of these two guys when they sent out those vinyls to DJ pools and try to push that song out along with everybody else's. That's just an example of a label and people. I think they thought like, oh, you know, this is our chance to get recognition now. And it's not the first time. A lot of labels do that, you know. They look for a reason to, you know, get their artists out there, and to them, that was their time. But in actuality, it wasn't. And no control over it. You know, in this case, they have, well, I kind of meant that the other way around. For him, they had no control over the pandemic. For the studio I worked for, they had control over it and decided to go a very selfish and to me it was a dumb route that they took, and nothing ever became of them. But the fact that his name is still relevant, still we're still talking about him, it still shows that he has a fan base that wants to see him blow up. And the more that continues, the more something is going to come from this to where promotions is going to hit it. And I hope he really takes part in that because I think he could come up with something creative. I hope he could come up with a good collaboration with someone, or, you know, at his next concerts, open up for someone big, or headline a tour and have someone big open up for him. Those type of things I think will really put him out there. So, again, these are all my opinions. Let me know what you think. And Falcongal, thank you so much for the question. I appreciate it. I'll be making a couple videos tonight, so wish me luck that they get pushed through faster. Until then, I will be back.